Who thought I'd be standing here at 108 drinking kale, apple, and ginger instead of everybody drinking water? But let me tell you something, it's a great drink. You know, transformation has been a big part of my life. I grew up in Canada, 5 kids. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't even get an MBA, I did get a BA. And many times in life I was told you can't do, you couldn't do. I ended up in New York in 1983 to work for Haagen-Dazs ice cream and learned about brands. And let me tell you something, what a great brand. And transforming Haagen-Dazs from a pint into a Haagen-Dazs bar was one of the greatest products I ever worked on. In 1990, I left there to go work for SlimFast. Man, all these years I'm getting people to put weight on, now we got to take them off. Shake in the morning, shake at lunch, sensible meal, we're skinny again. In 1991, I got fired. Best thing ever happened to me. Because the chairman of my company came to me and he said, when I'm in meetings, I'm the boss, I'm the chairman, I'm the smartest. You can't ask questions. Because as the chairman, you're supposed to know it all. First lesson, ask as many questions as you can. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I got fired. I just got married. My wife said to me, why'd I marry you? You're unemployable. I went to see headhunters. You're unemployable. You're a Canadian. You don't have a green card. Nobody wants to sponsor you. And let me tell you something. There's times you feel useless. And I said, I am going to start my own company that's going to transform food. Just think how important food is a part of our lives. You know, we saw before how many hours we sleep, how many hours we exercise. Think about it. When we're happy, we eat food. When we're depressed, we eat. What happens after a funeral? You run home and make sure there's food sent over. Food is such an important part of our lives. Eating healthy is not a fad, not a trend. It's so important to us. So what I said, I'm going to create a healthy food company. Everybody thought I was crazy. I went out to try and raise money. Back in 1991, 92, nobody wanted to give it to me. And again, I knew food had to be transformed. Who was I taking on? Pepsi, Coke, Campbell's. I used to look at a can of soup and I'm like, who wants to eat soup out of a can? Hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn sweetener. And back then, we didn't have a lot of Whole Foods. And boy, I would have sold to Amazon back then if they wanted to as quick as I could, or Walmart. So in 1993, and that's why 20 years this November, I created back then, which was not Hain Celestial, the 21st Century Food Company, which was to make food for the 21st century. And all of a sudden, I was able to raise money, and guess what else I did in 1993? I went public. Wow. I'm trying to start a company. I'm now a public company. You know how many people said to me, what's it like being a public company? You know what? Being public has been great. It's set disciplines. It's really transformed the way you look at your business, not quarter to quarter like everybody else thinks. You really rely on good data. You really rely on good people. So today, I proudly stand up here and saying being the founder of the largest natural, organic, and personal care company in the US and the world is great. We are changing the way people eat. Obesity in kids has declined for the first time, and we are a big part of it. Today, our biggest customer is Whole Foods. And you know what? There's only 350 Whole Foods in the US and the UK and Canada. We do sell to Walmart. We do sell to Amazon. These are our brands that in 1993 that I started to acquire and consolidate into one major company. And it's interesting, as a founder of this company, I've never created a brand from scratch. What I always did was go out and find great entrepreneurs, took their ideas, and how do we make a bigger idea? Perfect example, Blueprint. Great product. We bought it in December, doing $20 million. It will do $50–60 million this year. 1995, I had my first child. I was running around looking for baby food. Like, I'm not feeding my child Gerber baby food. Here we are in a plastic jar, toxins, pesticides, and with that, I found Earth's Best. It was sold to a company called Heinz. Heinz did not care about organics, didn't care about sourcing GMOs. And basically, they had bought it, was a $36 million company. When we bought it, it was a $14 million company hanging on to life. Today, Earth's Best is a $200+ million company. We feed infants and toddlers their first food. Think about the responsibility that we accept in doing that, okay? Babies with their formula for the first time. So, number one, brands, 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 brands. I have twin boys. I wanted to call one brand and one equity when they were born, but my wife didn't let me. So, but I did call one of my twins, his middle name is Hain. So number one, in building Hain today, the major thing that I have stuck to is brands. Secondly, I've branched out to those brands, with those brands on a global basis, but I've stuck to our mission statement. And our mission statement was to create healthy ingredients. Today, 98%, 99% of Hain products are GMO-free, no genetically modified ingredients. As a public company, it probably cost us $100 million a year in incremental costs because we go out and source only GMO ingredients, GMO-free ingredients. 60% of our products today are organic. Today, we source products in Africa, South America. The supply of organic ingredients is tremendous and how difficult it is. And here's just a few of our brands. Celestial Seasonings, been around since 1970. Today, it is one of the #1 specialty tea brands out there. You heard me talk about Earth's Best. Terra Chips, bought it in 1998. I thought it was a fad. Today, it's one of the #1 vegetable root chips out there and growing tremendously. You know, you come back and look, last year, I looked at a company called Ella's. Ella's was the #1 organic baby food company in the UK. And, you know, everybody used to say to me, why can't you take Earth's Best in the UK? Bought the brand in the UK, and now between Ella's and Earth's Best, close to a $300 million infant toddler food business. So with that, you know, industry trends today and what's happening with industry trends, natural organic. In 1993, nobody knew what organic was. In 1993, we didn't hear about hydrogenated oils. In 1993, we weren't worried about wellness. If I asked every one of you last night, hey, who was out having a few drinks last night? Who had a big steak? You are what you eat. Food tells you today what you're going to be. Obamacare. 70% of healthcare costs today are coming from self-infliction. And the biggest cure for disease is what you eat. With that, I'm out there today competing with the big companies in regards to changing food, and that was always the criticism. Pepsi's going to squash you. They own Frito-Lay. Kraft is going to just copy what you're doing. And one of the big things that I stuck with in doing this is I stayed on my mission. I've never got off. My mission statement was to create health and wellness. You look at packaging today, and you saw before our Earth's Best packaging. And some of you here are moms and dads that fed your babies, and you had jars of baby food. Today, 45% of our sales is pouches. and that will continue to change. We're in the soup business in a big way. Cans of soup will go away. We never heard of something called BPA, which was a chemical sealer that was in soup, was in baby food for the longest times, and here our wet product was touching this product. In 2004, I went in the personal care business. People thought I was crazy. Wall Street thought I was crazy. Think about it. If you're concerned about what we put in our mouths, how about what we put on our bodies? Last year, a big consumer packaged good company said, we are not going to put formaldehyde in our baby products anymore. Thank you, thank you. Why weren't you telling anybody about it? US and Canada are the only countries that allow genetically modified ingredients. And we've been doing it for 20 years, and there's a lot of states that are going to start passing it. Gluten-free. We didn't know what gluten-free was 5 years ago. When I was growing up, I didn't have friends that had food allergens. So what I will tell you, the food business, the personal care business will transform tremendously. The packaging we buy our products in will transform. And the person that tells you you can't do it, or the person that tells you that you're fired, say thank you. Because you know what? The consumer is the one that's telling you, I want to buy this. The consumer is the one that's saying, hey, this is the product. Walmart, one of my biggest customers, and will continue to be. So when you're green, you're growing. When you ripe, you will rot. Remember that. Thank you.